can we quickly run through and just basically say who you are, what planet you're from, and whether it's Jeezy or whether it's Jay-Z or Kanye, okay?
Hi everyone, I'm Duncan. I just spoke to you. I help to educate our fantastic teacher candidates at the University of Melbourne's Melbourne Graduate School of Education. I work across both mathematics and science education, but probably if I was asked to choose, I wouldn't. We'll leave it at that.
I'm Christine Redman and I work with Duncan, and I'm in the science area, and really what he wanted to say was his home base is maths, but we are very much of the same mind that effective science teaching has to draw on and utilise maths in authentic ways. So that's where our synergies come together. So as much as I say, cut me, I bleed science, cut him, he bleeds maths, we actually foreground, and we both are very strongly committed to foregrounding maths in the development of STEM and looking for the engineering opportunities.
I'm going to cut you off there, I'm sorry, because
I like
it's an introduction,
people,
not a statement.
where is the T?
Okay, where's the T? Let's keep going. You snuck that in there, well done.
Hi, I'm Molly. I graduated from the MTeach program at Melbourne last year, and I was lucky enough to do the science specialisation with Duncan and Christine.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anna. I currently teach at Aiken Creek Primary School, and I think I can answer the T part of the question because we are heavily focused on technology and trying to weave science and mathematics in. And I was given the opportunity to work at Hazel Glen in the STEAM department next year. And having the STEM qualification and specialising in mathematics has given me the opportunity and lots of knowledge to support the team.
Thank you, that's perfect.
Hi, I'm Nozomi. I also graduated from MTeach last year with Molly and Anna, doing the science specialisation with Christine and Duncan. And currently I teach at Huntingdale Primary School, which is a Japanese-English bilingual school.
And I'm Peter Cox, the token Latrobe person here, I think, on this panel. So I'm in science education on the Bendigo campus, as you probably worked out from my presentation if you were here before.
Thank you very much, guys. So lunch is at 12:30. We've got 12 minutes. I'm going to steal a couple of extra minutes, not too many because we're starving. Before I ask if there are any general questions for the panel, I should point out that Anthony has got the microphone, Jerry Springer style, so if you want to throw chairs or something, he'll hold the microphone for you while you do that. I guess I'd like to ask anyone in the panel if they want to answer the question of, when we produce a science-focused or science-enabled or science specialist pre-service teacher at the primary level, they're going to move into an environment where there are many teachers potentially teaching in teams. They'll be one cog in that wheel. It's not like they're going to be the Year 12 maths teacher, say. So how are they going to transfer their learnings when they go into a potentially hostile environment where they're just the wet ear behind the ears person? Christine, can I invite you to be succinct?
We currently work with a school who has a science specialist person in place, one of our ex-graduates from a number of years ago. In that school, we keep the science in the classroom. So the classroom teachers are still teaching science, and this person teaches science that doesn't work as well in the classroom. And so the teachers haven't relinquished their responsibility. And so they all work together to deliver the national and state curriculum.
Thank you very much. Now, can I invite Yazumi?
Yes.
Thank you. Nazumi, I was just having a chat to you like 2 hours ago, and your situation is quite interesting. Do you want to share? You're just first year out, aren't you? Yeah, so tell a story.
So in our school, we teach in and through Japanese. So we don't actually teach Japanese, but we teach subjects through Japanese. So at our school currently, all the sciences are taught in Japanese. So I don't teach any of the sciences as a subject, which means that I have to be very collaborative with my counterpart, a Japanese teacher, who doesn't have a very strong science background. And linking back to your question about how do you kind of communicate, I feel like the first step is changing the disposition, not really the knowledge. So I came in my team, loving science, very passionate, and very confident as well. And I think passing that on first is more important than, this is what you need, you can go to this place to find resources, would be a good topic to teach. I think that disposition for me was more important.
So as a scientist, a researcher, again, I'm learning, and I get this face expression sometimes if Vaughan says, "Are you okay?" It's like, yeah, I'm thinking. I'm going to ask the panel one more question, then I'm going to invite you to ask them questions related to the two issues which I've raised, or anything else in particular. Duncan, let me play devil's advocate. Did you just throw the maths under the bus? Where's the maths? I don't see any algebra or solving of simultaneous equations or anything I as a researcher recognize. I mean, your job is to teach these guys how to calculate, so when they come to me, I can tell them all the fun stuff about black holes, and they come to me and they can't do all this algebra stuff. So what's the story? Are you actually doing maths, or are you just claiming to in a fog of data?
It's funny, isn't it, how people sort of perceive mathematics. Certainly for me, the area of mathematics, and some people may, have issues with sort of defining statistics as an area of specifically mathematics, but for me, the area of mathematics that's like the Trojan horse, that's the area that covers all spectrums, is statistics. And it gives us all sorts of opportunities, especially at the primary level, to deal with the other areas of mathematics as well. Because as you would have seen from the table that was presented by our students, there was lots of sort of arithmetic going on there. And at a primary level, that stuff's really important. There was obviously measurement happening as well. And I assume, if probably not at the 3-4 level, but if they'd pushed it a bit further, they would have been asking their students to identify a way of, for want of a better word, averaging that data. So teaching them then about measures of central tendency and how important those things are, which then brings in the question of variation, which is sort of this kind of ephemeral thing somewhere between mathematics and science.
So you're basically saying yes, but it doesn't matter.
Yes, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't want to put words into your mouth. As a practicing physicist, I use statistics.
Mm-hmm.
Physics is mechanically, fundamentally statistical, yet I haven't done a single course of statistics at a tertiary level, or at high school either. Okay, folks, Jerry Springer time. Who wants up? We got one there.
Wonderful segue.
No, these guys are controlling it, so you just do your thing and they'll bring it up and down as
I
required.
hate microphones. Wonderful segue.
First of all, the rules are, though, you've got to tell me who you are.
All right. My name
just
is
in case.
Andrew Hay. I graduated from Melbourne University, did in 1985, and had a Hot Wheels set in 1970. managing to convince my parents. Yes, I've long been a very, very strong advocate in the importance of statistics in mathematics, and very pleased to see the changes that have happened in the recent mathematics methods and special mathematics courses in VCE. What I would have been interested in there would have been the statistics or data gathering and science are a fairly easy match. I thought with that there was a wonderful opportunity to do some work with geometry, with measurement, maybe some pattern, and those sorts of things that would love to have seen drawn out in the lesson a bit further. And mind you say, I thought the lesson was absolutely wonderful. I know what I'm looking at is how can you make something that is really good even richer with looking at some of those harder aspects of the maths to bring out, particularly in the primary school. Whilst number is important, it's not all important. And often in primary school, it's number.
All right, so Christine, can I invite, I'm just going to be chaotic here. Do you want to take this one?
No, I'm passing it to Duncan.
All right, and then
I was
Peter,
going to
I want
pass
you to
it
have a
to
go.
them.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Calvin,
Can we
you're
do it?
nodding away
Yeah.
there. Calvin?
Definitely, thank you for the feedback. No, definitely there is room to grow with geometry, with analyzing statistics, because it is really important. Because our world today, kids see numbers like, 50% of people are afraid to vote because of blah. And they're like, what does that mean? Right, so they don't understand that. And however, for this particular lesson, because it's targeted at 3/4s, we were cognizant not to actually pitch it too high. However, yes, there is always room to make it better for even upper primary school, or even like years 7 and 8. And you could actually incorporate all that, stuff into there. And because, I agree with you, it's not just numbers. There's a lot of stuff around maths that we can play with, data analysis. As I mentioned, the kids were struggling with just looking for patterns and trying to explain to them what outliers mean. They look at you like thinking, oh yeah, what do you mean? Right, so you had to really explicitly bring that into life to them, like put it up on the wall in the class, explain that through, and pick a few and then pick groups to explain why that happened, and then prompt their thinking deeper. Did that answer your? Yeah. Right.
Thank you very much indeed. It's really nice to see the PSTs taking the question. I think that's probably a good trend to continue. More questions, sir, up the back.
Thank you. I'm Louis Fernandez and I work for the department in Science and Maths. I have a question for Christine, I guess. You said the specialist teachers in science work alongside the regular teacher, the generalist teachers. So who takes the initiative and responsibility of incorporating maths and science and technology and design? Are they like working in collaboration? And is there a need for us to now think that primary specialist or maths specialist should be involved in primary science and maths? Thank you.
I'm looking at Vaughan because I think you already flagged earlier that it's controversial to prepare teachers as maths or science specialists, because the problem could be that the classroom teacher says, well, not my responsibility, you go do your phys ed, art, science with someone else. Whereas we know that science in the classroom enables connects the child to their natural world, allows lots of rich language, draws on history, all sorts of different areas. So we still want it in the classroom. It will be an independent decision made by schools, as this is a new area. I know schools are very interested in having science specialists, particularly STEM specialists now. So it'll be how schools work that space. I'm hoping they keep their primary teachers in the classrooms teaching science. If not, if we put specialists in everywhere, in 10 years we'll have a history of primary teachers not teaching science for a long time. And that would not be good, because it affords so many authentic links to literacy, numeracy, maths, all sorts of areas. So it'll be worked on by schools individually.
Great. Is there anyone else on the panel who would like to add to that? All right, we'll move straight on to, yes. One question while the microphone is coming is STEM just its component parts, or is it some sort of a synergistic leveraging of some magic thing? Anyway.
All right. So my question is, if you want teachers, generalist primary teachers, to be teaching science, then why have specialist primary teachers? I'm also a recent or soon-to-be grad, and my background is science, and I chose not to do the specialisation because I didn't want to be put into one field. But then I think, oh, wait a minute, if I'm applying for a job and they see a specialist, are they going to choose a specialist over a generalist? But then, yeah, why have specialists if you want generalists?
Can I direct that towards the 3 individuals who are actually in the market now? Yeah, go. Do you want to go first? Yeah. I've forgotten your name because I'm useless.
Molly.
Thanks, Molly.
I myself am a 5/6 classroom teacher, and I found having the specialisation was a way to show that I did have that background science knowledge. And then coming into a teaching team, the school I'm at, team teachers, they team plan, it's very, very collaborative. It was kind of an opportunity for me to say, here's what I've got to bring to the team, and then everybody else in the team, who's obviously a lot more experienced than me, could take my knowledge and my ideas and put it in a real classroom setting. And that again brings in the maths as well, because I found that I struggled a little bit bringing the maths in really authentically, and that's something that they were better at. So it was just kind of a way for me to feel like I had something real to bring to a team as a new graduate, and I had that little bit of expertise, but also being able to see what everybody else had as well as part of the school. I don't know if that answers your question.
Thank you.
Okay. Can I just add on that point before he continues? At Melbourne Graduate School, in the new model, every pre-service teacher will have a specialisation.
So it's not an arms race.
So,
Just before, but that's also a requirement of every new course that's approved.
yeah.
So
That's
it's Australia-wide that we're under pressure to have a specialisation in every primary degree. So it's a new ruling.
So you have to be a specialist.
There has to be, yes, every pre-service teacher has to have one specialisation in primary.
I think I benefited because of the specialisation. When I went for the job interview, they specifically looked at the part where it says specialisation in mathematics, and doing the STEM course, the actual subject, it gave me lots of different practical experiences to talk about during the job application, during the interview, and that was really well met with our school, Aiken Creek, that's very highly inquiry focused. And because they saw that connection, that there was that was going to be a good partnership and collaboration happening with STEM, that's very inquiry based with 5E as a framework with what we've been doing at uni, it matched really well, and they looked at that highly. And in the Whittlesea area, I went to many different job applications, interviews, and they are building lots of STEAM buildings in the school and having a really big focus on inquiry-based learning, especially investigative learning with STEM. So they invested on STEAM buildings, and they produced jobs that was specifically looking for science and mathematics specialists. So I went to a lot of those job interviews, and I pretty much had to present a set unit that I did at uni as well, that I incorporate into my classrooms, showing them and modelling how I would integrate that into the classroom. So it was highly beneficial.
That's very interesting. It's a brave new world out there, folks. Did you want to... Well, do you want to say
I don't
something?
mind. I could.
Okay, go on, do it.
Well, I think, like Anna said, I think there is a benefit of having that title. But like Morley said, I think for me it was more for myself that I felt confident in one area. Sure, I can teach literacy and math, and I love teaching all the other subjects too. But being strong in one area gave me a starting point. So I'm really interested in biology. So, you know, the story I tell to my kids is that, you know, I start with biology and then I link to literacy and then I link to math. So I think having that one base was good for me personally.
And I just building on what Nozomi just said, I don't think for many of us doing the specialisation ever marketed ourselves as science teachers or maths teachers. It was more just saying that we have this specialisation in a cross-curricular approach through science, and for the school I'm working at this year is very inquiry based and very much a cross-curricular approach, and that was a real benefit for me, being able to say, well, I've taught this unit based around biology that brought in angles and testalizations and literacy, and I've done this unit in science that brings in all these other curriculum areas as well.
Thank you very much. That's awesome. I will take, yep, you, and then the lady up the back, but don't forget to tell us who you are.
My name's Debbie, and when I lived in the U.S., I was a teacher, bilingual teacher, by the way. We taught in both languages, everything. So a teacher for 30 years now, math coach, STEM specialist, and all that. But then when I moved here, that was no longer a thing, but I guess now it's a thing. Unfortunately, I'm not working. But that being said, I really like what you guys did. I love what you did with your unit. I thought that was a beautiful example of what many teachers, for instance, what we've worked with for professional development and lesson study and integration, and all these things for years, developing teachers' expertise in working with curriculum and building on things that already exist, not recreating the wheel and stuff. You did a beautiful job of it. That being said, I think one of the hindrances that I've seen both here and in the US in terms of not allowing, taking that unit, for instance, and being able to build on it over the years and making it into something great is that leadership has a lot to do with it, and not just school leadership, but school, I don't know what to call it here, we have districts, school district leadership or state leadership and funding and consistency. So somebody talked about time, allowing for people to learn, allowing for the slowness of deep and complex engagement, and it's not just about the content, though that's imperative, but it's also about, you talked about critical thinking, and I've noticed that most teachers don't have a clue what that is. They think they know what it is, but if you ask them to define what's critical thinking, can you give an example? It's usually about test-taking skills.
I might stop you there because you've raised like 5
I have.
fantastic issues.
But
Do you want to pick
question,
one?
Yes.
Or,
the question is, what are your examples of when you're in school, how leadership can either allow you to do what you're hired for or obstruct it? What have you noticed about the types of programs going on?
so throw to the PSTs here, PSTs, EISTs, whatever.
How is that supported?
Meso teachers.
Okay, so in my primary school at the moment, our primary school, we have a very high focus on technology, and our leader, so our AP, I don't think I'm allowed to name her. She's the main person who brings in lots of technology and resources. We are a one-on-one iPad school, so that means we are able to use that to support inquiry because it's highly collaborative and it requires lots of research. So it gives students the opportunity to innovate and be the drivers of their own learning. In saying so, that has in a way hindered some of the aspects of the learning because we are always focused on teaching the technological skills instead of the concept and the skills behind mathematics or science that I'm really into putting in. Because of that stimulus from the technology, students are constantly having to be engaged with the learning instead of focusing on the skills. That's what have been bit of a difficulty within us because they are really great at researching or questioning about their concepts, but the crux of it is they are struggling to write. At a grade 2 level, they can't spell because we don't have a spelling system. It's highly inquiry-based. So I'm thinking that it's really important to have a balanced approach where explicit is also introduced and taught in the balanced method. And another thing is that with this inquiry method, we also have the problem of causing lots of gaps in the curriculum. We're not covering lots of the concepts, and that's one of the reasons why the skills, it's really obvious, even with the NAPLAN data and all the data we've collected, that students aren't showing those skills. And
so there might almost be you can lead from below, of course, and it sounds like there might be an opportunity to do that. I'll just, because we're way over time, I'll run to the other 2 PSTs. There was a question up the back, but we'll finish with this question and then we'll wrap up. So what are your guys' experience of your relationship with your special Jedi powers and the first 2 or 3 layers of leadership?
I've had really positive experiences. As I said, the school I'm at's very inquiry-based with a big focus on science. As a result, we've been allowed a fair amount of freedom in the classroom to take that where the kids need to go because there's also a big focus on voice and choice. So if the students are engaged and they're interested and they want to learn more, we run with it. And we've been told a few times, don't feel constrained by the fact that, this term we're doing electrical sciences. If it's going to run over into the next term, let it run over into the next term so they can tease out as much of it as they can, which has allowed for a lot more of that deeper thinking there. And I think if leadership had placed constraints on this term we are doing biology and next term you have to start this unit, then we wouldn't have been able to get to that point with letting the kids kind of tease out all the different layers of knowledge and understandings they can from that as well.
That's cool.
I've had a really positive experience as well. Like Molly said, like her school, we're quite flexible in what we can do in the classroom. And I think in terms of structure, my school is at the moment really trying to change the system or the curriculum design as a whole to be able to do STEAM and to be able to do inquiry where it's student-centered. So I think that's not something I had control over, but being part of that team to change the curriculum design with the leaders, I think they play a really big role in where the school is heading. So I think, yes, it can be something that would hinder what you can do, but for some schools, it can be a very positive thing that the leaders have, can guide you to where you want to go.
I think that's the elephant in the room in a lot of primary and secondary education reforms. Don't forget to tell us who you are.
Yeah. So my name is Lei Hua. I'm a lecturer in science education at Deakin. This is just a comment because I'm working in teacher education, and we just put up accreditation for a BEd primary course. And as we talk about that, there's a government push in terms of all primary school teacher supposed to have a specialization, and there's a strong emphasis on science, math, and languages. What I see the problem is we are heavily rely on pre-service teachers. We have really great, fantastic pre-service teachers here who are supposedly, they have, are generalist classroom teachers with expertise in science and could do some fantastic work in classrooms and in schools. But the problem is what we talked about at the beginning is about capacity building in the schools. So often when the pre-service teacher graduate and becoming, newly teachers in classroom, they are not in a leadership position. So in terms of how they could go out and do really capacity building, so other teachers in the classroom who haven't got a science background can also teach science in their classrooms. I think that's a huge task. And based on the research we have done with a group of primary science specialists who are trained as science specialists, who are in-service teachers, and how they work with other classroom teachers in the schools, try to capacity building in order to allow other classroom teachers to teach science. It is a huge task, and it's often challenging depending whether the science specialist has a leadership role in the school. Because I think we are too much, at least I feel like there's a huge focus on ITE, which is the initial teacher education, but we should direct the attention more towards the in-school capacity building, so all the primary classroom teachers will be able to take on this as an initiative.
I'll take that as a very, very important comment, and it's something that the ReMSTEP project is constantly grappling with, is why is it just pre-service teachers? How do we expand it? How long does it take? Because our bellies are empty and all those other people are eating our food, can I invite you to applaud and embrace the panel?